Welcome to Mexico City, where the UFC is back in action after a long 3 weeks away. And of course, MMAjunkie is on the ground here in Mexico City for UFC Fight Night 98. Now, Media Day got underway today. We actually started things a little bit earlier, coming in yesterday and speaking to headliner Tony Ferguson, who said he's really not all that impressed with former UFC lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos.
And for RDA, his focus completely somewhere else. He's worried about his new gym. He's worried about Pro Max sponsorships and all this other bullshit. And with RDA, man, I see quit in his face. And he's worried about his coach and his gym, like I said, and he's looking past me, not through me. I'm looking through his ass.
Meanwhile, I spoke to former UFC champion Rafael dos Anjos, who told me he handpicked Tony Ferguson because he thought he would be his clearest path to maybe try and reclaim the UFC lightweight throne. Yeah,
I was speaking to my manager after the fight, and I say I want to fight for the title, and I say they're not gonna give you a rematch. I say who I need to beat to get my title back, to get my title shot. I think Ferguson will be the guy. He's coming for 8 wins straight, and so let's do it Saturday.
Veteran Diego Sanchez was also very fired up during our interviews, extremely disappointed about his loss at UFC 200 and saying that he is back and the Nightmare is going to deliver.
I look at it like this. He wants to break my leg. So I have to break his face before he breaks my leg. And so that's how I look at it going into this fight. So I'm going in there I'm going to break his face. I'm going to break his body. I'm going to break his leg. You know, I'm going to break his spirit. And that's what Diego Sanchez, the Nightmare, plans to do on Saturday night.
Meanwhile, I spoke to Diego Sanchez's opponent, UFC newcomer MARCIN, who told me he's approaching his UFC debut as any other fight, and he doesn't expect to take Sanchez to a decision.
I don't like win by decision. In every fight, I go to submission. I'm trying to win by submission, and this time will be the same, and I would be really happy to finish him like that first.
Once the interviews were complete, it was on to open workouts. And while there's no question Eric Goyito Perez remains a fan favorite here in Mexico, it might have been Tony Ferguson who stole the show.
Like I said, I'm fighting for all those people that are working those hard-ass hours at night and those people that are on the streets right now doing these things. It was funny, the other night I'm going to share something with you. There was a guy that was pushing this heavy-ass cart, and instead of passing him by, I actually pulled up next to him and I pushed the cart, and he looked at me for 1 second. I said, don't worry about it. I was like, keep pushing and I got you, man. And we pushed it a couple blocks. And it's something that I did, not because somebody told me. I didn't have anybody holding my hand in this camp. I don't have to have somebody holding my hand and go for a run or do these kind of things that I do. It's because I do random acts of kindness everywhere. And I'm trying to pass that down and pay it forward to everybody out there. So pay it forward, gentlemen.
So a busy start to the week here in Mexico City, no doubt, but MMAjunkie's got you covered on the ground, of course. Tomorrow, a little bit calmer day, official weigh-ins in the morning, and then, of course, the ceremonial weigh-ins in the afternoon, a Q&A with Yair Rodriguez along the way. We'll have it all for you on MMAjunkie.